Since childhood, you were taught that someone would come, someone wiser, stronger, more capable, someone who would understand your pain and lift the weight off your shoulders. That belief was comforting. It gave life a false sense of safety, a script to follow. Endure long enough, and someone will arrive to make everything better. Yet that story, though comforting, is the first lie most people learn. Because no one is coming, not in the way you imagine, not as a hero stepping into the storm to pull you out. And realizing that truth can feel like betrayal at first, like the universe turned its back on you. But it hasn't. It's simply handing you the mirror instead of the hand you've been reaching for. Many carry this illusion into adulthood, chasing love, friendships, mentors, or even spirituality as substitutes for self-responsibility. You look for someone to fill the silence, to validate your worth, to calm the chaos within. You convince yourself that once the right person enters your life, everything broken will finally align. But every time you make someone your rescuer, you give away a piece of your power. They can comfort you, support you, even inspire you, but they cannot heal what you refuse to face. The most they can offer is a reflection of your potential, not its fulfillment. Depending on others to save you is like standing in the rain waiting for someone else to open your umbrella. You stay drenched by your own inaction. The illusion of rescue doesn't only live in relationships, it hides in excuses. You tell yourself, when life gets easier, I'll change. When I have more money, I'll heal. When I move, when I find love, when I'm finally understood. But that when never comes, because it's built on the idea that external conditions must align before internal change can happen. Life doesn't work that way. Conditions shift after you decide to shift. Waiting for the world to make you ready keeps you in spiritual paralysis. No savior, no timing, no circumstance will save you from the work that only you can do. The moment you stop searching for someone to rescue you is the moment you step into your own power. It's a quiet rebellion against dependency, against the story that told you you were too fragile to carry yourself. Yes, it hurts to realize that no one is coming, but in that hurt is liberation. The pain of self-realization cuts deep, but it also cuts away illusion. You begin to see that what you mistook for abandonment was actually initiation. The universe isn't ignoring you. It's calling you to rise, to remember that you were never meant to be saved. You were meant to awaken. And awakening starts with ownership. You stop waiting for someone to fix your life, and you start doing the small, unglamorous work of fixing it yourself. You stop expecting others to understand your wounds before you've tried to understand them. You stop begging life to send you saviors and start becoming the kind of person who no longer needs one. Because in truth, no one can climb inside your mind and change it for you. No one can rewrite the story that you keep repeating. Only you can do that. And once that truth lands, not just in your mind but in your bones, you'll realize the greatest act of self-love isn't hoping for rescue. It's deciding to become your own. Realizing that no one is coming to save you is only the beginning. The harder part comes right after, the moment you understand that you must now do the saving. That truth is heavy, almost unbearable at first. It strips away the comfort of blame and forces you to look directly at yourself. There's no one left to point to, no one left to carry the burden for you. Responsibility isn't poetic. It's raw, humbling, and often lonely. Yet it's the birthplace of real power. Because until you take ownership of your healing, you remain a victim of your circumstances, a passenger in a life that only you can drive. There's a strange comfort in staying broken. Pain can become familiar, a dark room you've lived in for so long that the idea of light feels invasive. You start telling yourself, I'm just like this. But you're not. You're simply avoiding responsibility because responsibility demands change, and change demands effort. It's easier to stay in sadness than to confront why it's there. Easier to wait for someone to drag you out than to learn how to walk out on your own. But no one's hand can reach you where you've buried yourself. You'll have to be the one who digs. Taking responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for what was done to you. It means refusing to let what was done to you define what you become. The pain wasn't your choice, but healing will be. That's the unfairness of growth. It demands you repair wounds you didn't create. But it's also where your power lies. The moment you stop waiting for apologies, explanations, or permission, you begin to move. You learn that closure isn't something given, it's something claimed. You learn that responsibility isn't punishment, it's freedom in disguise, the permission to rebuild without needing anyone's approval. Owning your life feels like carrying a weight at first, but over time, that weight becomes strength. Every decision, every small act of accountability shapes you into someone unshakable. You no longer need saving because you've learned to sustain yourself. That's the quiet reward of responsibility. It transforms you from a dependent soul into a sovereign one. You realize that nobody is supposed to fix you. Nobody can. And that understanding, though hard-earned, becomes the foundation of peace. Once you take responsibility for your life, something shifts inside you. You begin to see patterns that were once invisible, habits, fears, reactions that quietly shaped your reality. Responsibility opens a door, and on the other side stands a mirror. This is where most people turn back, because the mirror shows everything. The truth behind your pain, the ways you've avoided growth, the parts of you that still wait to be rescued. No one told you that self-accountability would require self-confrontation, but it does. And when you finally look at yourself without filters, you realize that saving yourself isn't just about action, it's about honesty. Facing yourself means acknowledging that the enemy you've been fighting might not be out there. Sometimes it's the part of you that clings to comfort, that fears rejection, that deflects responsibility when things go wrong. You start to see how your own defense mechanisms, avoidance, overthinking, detachment, blame, have kept you trapped. These habits were built to protect you once, but now they only block you from freedom. Nobody can dismantle them for you. A therapist can guide you, a friend can listen, but only you can face what lives in your reflection. The mirror stage isn't gentle. It exposes the shame you've buried, the guilt you've justified, the pain you've denied. It shows you every place you betrayed your own potential. But rather than seeing this as punishment, see it as clarity. The truth doesn't hurt you. It frees you from illusions that kept you small. You stop expecting others to understand wounds you haven't even tried to understand yourself. You stop wishing for someone to fix emotions you won't allow yourself to feel. Healing becomes an act of courage, not comfort. And that's where true self-salvation begins. You sit with your emotions instead of escaping them. You write them down, name them, question them, and slowly, they lose their power over you. You realize that no one else can translate the language of your pain. Only you can do that. The mirror doesn't lie, but it also doesn't judge. It waits. It reflects the truth until you're ready to accept it. And once you do, you begin to see that no one is coming to save you because no one needs to. You already possess everything necessary to rise, to heal, to reclaim the power that was always yours. After staring into the mirror long enough, realization alone is no longer enough. You can understand every wound, name every trauma, analyze every pattern, and still stay stuck. Awareness without movement becomes another form of avoidance. The moment you see yourself clearly, life will demand proof through action. Healing stops being a concept and becomes a practice. And because no one is coming to save you, no one will take these steps for you. You will have to move, even when the weight of inertia feels unbearable. Action is the language of transformation. It's how the soul proves it's ready to live differently. Sometimes it's small, a walk outside, a phone call, cooking a meal instead of skipping it, saying no when you usually say yes. These simple acts may look ordinary, but they're sacred. They signal to your subconscious that you've stopped waiting. You're no longer hoping someone else will give you permission to live. You're taking ownership of your time, your body, your choices. That's what real empowerment looks like. Not a grand awakening, but a quiet consistency that reshapes your life piece by piece. The discipline of action also teaches humility. You'll stumble, relapse, question your progress, and sometimes feel like you're moving backward. But each time you try again, you strengthen the muscle of self-trust. And that trust is what makes external rescue unnecessary. You stop begging the world for stability because you've built it within. No one else needs to believe in your growth for it to be real. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. The moment you stop waiting for the perfect mood or the right time, life starts to respond. The universe aligns with motion, not hesitation. Every act of discipline is a declaration. I am my own savior. You prove it not through words, but through repetition. You book the therapy session, you open the journal, you get out of bed, you try again tomorrow, because no one will show up at your door and do it for you. No one can carry you across the threshold of change. You have to walk it yourself. And though it feels exhausting at first, soon you'll see that what once felt like punishment becomes devotion. Discipline becomes a sacred act of self-respect, the daily reminder that you no longer wait for rescue. You live as the one who saves. Through discipline, the impossible begins to soften. What once felt out of reach slowly starts to respond to your consistency. Each small action builds upon the last until movement becomes natural and waiting becomes foreign. Somewhere along the path, you stop checking the door for someone who might come to help. You've already learned the truth. No one is coming. And strangely, that realization no longer hurts. It liberates you. Because now you understand that you were never abandoned. You were being prepared to meet yourself. Self-salvation is not an overnight event. It's a becoming. It's when your daily choices start aligning with the person you've always wanted to be. You wake up one day and realize the storm that used to destroy you now barely shakes you. You see pain as feedback, not punishment. You feel gratitude for the strength you had to cultivate just to stand here, breathing, aware, awake. The version of you that once waited to be rescued is gone, replaced by someone who knows that help was never meant to arrive from the outside. It was meant to awaken from within. As you evolve, relationships change too. You stop clinging to others out of fear of being alone. You stop expecting them to fix what you've already accepted responsibility for. Instead, you connect from wholeness, not need. You recognize that others are also walking their own paths of self-rescue, and you honor that without trying to carry them. You can love deeply without losing yourself, because you no longer confuse love with saving. You no longer confuse comfort with healing. And that is when connection becomes real, two complete souls walking beside each other, not leaning on one another to survive. Eventually, you reach a quiet peace. It's not dramatic or loud. It's still, steady, grounded. You realize that the life you've been building, piece by piece, was always meant to be built by your own hands. You see now that no one is coming to save you because you've already become the one who does. And in that understanding lies the deepest kind of freedom, the freedom to create, to choose, to live without waiting. You are no longer searching for rescue, you are embodying it. You have become the hero of your own story. You are the answer you've been waiting for. Every prayer, every cry for help, every sleepless night was a signal, not to the world, but to your own spirit, calling you home. No one else can heal what you refuse to touch. No one else can rewrite your story. You are the author, the editor, and the reader of your own becoming. So stop waiting for the rescue. Stand up, take the pen, and start writing. The world doesn't owe you healing, but it will reflect your effort. You have everything you need to rise, to rebuild, to reclaim the power you once gave away. Because no one is coming to save you, and that's the most beautiful truth you'll ever learn.